can't make it. There we go. So we are now recording. So again, welcome to the Nail Your 2015 Business Plan webinar. Now, obviously, you've deemed this an important enough topic now to give up your time to either be here with me live or listening back to the recording. So just a couple of quick tips, because I want to make sure that you get the most out of this time that you're investing now. Firstly, of course, turn off distractions. I know you're busy, and I know how tempting it is to try and do something else while you're listening and watching this. But you will not absorb the information, trust me. So please turn off your email, turn off anything that you've got open at the moment, and just try and focus on what we're going to be going through now. Now, my second tip is take your own notes throughout. I will, of course, be sending out the recording, but personally, I always find that I absorb information much better if I take my own notes, so I'm encouraging you to do the same. So what we are going to be covering over the next 45 minutes or so are, firstly, the top mistakes that business owners make when putting together their business plan and how you Hi, sorry, I think we had some more audio technical issues there, so apologies again if I cut off part way through. I'm just saying what we're going to be covering over the next 45 minutes or so, and that is firstly the top mistakes that business owners often make when putting together their business plan and how you can avoid these. We're going to look at how you can create a plan that you will actually use and not shove in a drawer or a cupboard somewhere. And we're going to be looking at how having a plan will actually help you increase and improve your productivity next year and stop you faffing about so much. So that's what we are going to do. So hopefully you are all ready for that. So I know that it's obviously an incredibly busy time of year for lots of you right now, coming up to Christmas. So as well as running your own business, you're trying to probably, and hopefully, you're trying to plan in some time off. You are probably also trying to, depending on, if you're like me, you've got young kids at home, we've got visits to Santa planned, I've got nativity plays, we've got carol concerts here, there and everywhere, violin concerts, Christmas parties, and not to mention, of course, all the sickness bugs and coughs and colds that seem to be doing the rounds at this time of year. And that's certainly the case in my house right now. So no wonder it is hard to keep your focus at the moment. You're probably trying to do everything, if not most of everything, by yourself. And now somehow you've got to try and squeeze in some time for planning for next year and start to work on how you want that next year to look. So before you plunge headlong into doing that planning, let's see if I can try and make that easier for you so that you end up with something that makes a huge difference to you and your business in 2015. So before we kick off and we start looking at those mistakes, let me very quickly introduce myself. I think there's some names on here that I'm not as familiar with. So as it says on the slide here in front of you, I've worked in senior roles in the corporate world in Vodafone and Swinton. I then set up my own business, Alison Bradford Coaching, back in June 2011. And I now work with small business owners, micro businesses, and helping them to grow their business and to make more money, but without necessarily putting in more and more hours. Now, I've always been a bit of a planner, to be perfectly honest, whether that's in a personal or a professional capacity. So I know from personal experience how effective a good plan can be. Back when I was at Vodafone, I was delivering 5-year business plans. I was also both at Vodafone and in Swinton delivering numerous project plans to make changes happen. And now in my work with smaller businesses, I work directly with the business owners to produce their own 12-month plans for success. So I do like to think I know a thing or two about planning. Now, the business owners that I work with now are typically trying to do their planning by themselves, and they're struggling to find the time to do it. So you may be unsure where to start, you may be unsure what even it should look like, Or you may just find the whole idea of putting together a plan off-putting, as you think it's going to just kind of, constrain you or put you in a box somehow, and it just doesn't fit in with your creative style and how you like to work. So before we kick off with those mistakes, I just wanted to kind of give you some sense of flavour of the results some of my clients have got over the past year from working with me and working on putting together their own plans and implementing those. So these are some little sound bites of actual things that my clients have said. So, from their best month in over 3 years of business, turnover's been doubled in 3 months of working with me versus the previous 6 months, working less hours than before, yet still making the highest average monthly turnover since starting the business. Increasing prices makes a big difference. This person here increased their prices by 140%, made a huge difference to their profit, and none of their customers batted an eyelid. Having a big increase in focus and organisation, being able to make better, quicker decisions, putting in processes and seeing the benefits of how much quicker and simpler it makes everything, making the commitment to move to an office and take on extra help. So those are some typical results and some real life results that my clients have got over the past 12 months. So now let's crack on and let me share with you what you need to know to get your own business plan for 2015 nailed. So let's start with mistake number one. And mistake number one looks like this. So if you can see on the slide that I'm sharing on the screen now, too many people think a business plan needs to be a really long and detailed document. So, if you can see this image I've got now, this rather long document, you'll see that looks overwhelming straight away. How do you even know where to begin with a business plan that looks like that? So let me clarify this first of all for you. When I'm talking about a business plan during this webinar, what I'm talking about is a plan that will help you get from where you are now to where you want to be. I am not talking about the type of business plan that may need to be produced for the bank if you're looking for a loan, or some other investor if you're looking to source finance or an investment of some sort into your business. Okay? That is a more formal and potentially lengthy document. Yet that's the kind of formal and detailed long document that often springs to people's minds when I mention a business plan. So if you're thinking on those terms, that's the first mistake that I see business owners making. And it doesn't add value to have something like that because it is overwhelming. You don't know where to start. So guess what? You never do start, and it does get shoved in the cupboard. So that is mistake number one, thinking a business plan needs to be a long document. Now, mistake number two is thinking that business plans are boring and uninspiring. So if your business plan in the past, if you've tried to do these and you think it's been boring or it's just not inspired you, then guess what? No wonder it's not worked. You're not going to use it throughout the year. And again, it will get shoved in a drawer at the bottom of a pile of papers to be found at some later date when you're having a sort out. Now, if you were to Google business plan template, there are plenty and plenty of boring ones out there that will potentially put you to sleep. So maybe if you suffer from insomnia, it might be a good idea. But if you want a business plan that's actually going to work for you next year, then do not make the mistake of thinking that a business plan is boring and uninspiring. The good news is you're the business owner. This is your business plan, so you have control over it. You get to make it how you want it to be. Mistake number three is thinking that a business plan is all about the numbers, that it's a financial document. Now, the numbers, I would say, are an essential part of your plan. So you need to have some clarity in terms of what your revenue, what your expenses and what your profit targets are for next year. And the plan will often revolve around that. But there is a lot more to a great plan than the numbers. It needs to include those other things that inspire you and that are important to you. You need to remind yourself of why you started your own business. What else are you looking to achieve from this business? So that's mistake number three, thinking that a business plan is all about the numbers. Let's move on to mistake number 4 now. And this is mistake number 4. It's about winging it, or not even bothering to do a business plan in the first place. You know that I'll just keep working really hard and then it will all come good in the end. Yeah, I don't need a plan. I don't like to have a plan. I'm creative. I don't want to be boxed in. Let's just see what happens. Let's wing it. So if that's you, then, you know, really I have a question for you, which is, how has that worked for you? Because I'm going to assume that if you're here now and you're listening to this, then it's probably not worked hugely well for you until now. And, you know, I'm going to show you now some ways that you can create something that is going to inspire you. And winging it, I would say, is not an option. Not if you want to achieve success and achieve your goals that you've set out for your business. So those are the 4 top mistakes that I see business owners making when it comes to doing their business plan. Yeah, so they either think mistake number 1, it's too lengthy, it's a long document. Mistake number 2, thinking it's something really boring and uninspiring. Mistake number 3, thinking it's just about the numbers. And mistake number 4 is winging it, or not even bothering to do one in the first place. So we know the mistakes. But you don't want to, you know, now you know that, let's have a look at what you should be doing instead. So step 1, keep it to 1 page. I love 1-page documents. You know, why do I love them? Because they're usable. When you've got it on 1 page, it's so easy. You can carry it around with you. I like to put my plan in a frame on my desk, an A4 size frame on my desk, so I can see it all the time. It's usable. It's portable. And you need here a plan that you're going to use. We're not about doing plans that get shoved in the drawer. What is the point in that? Don't get it. So try and keep it to 1 page. You know, of course, I'm not saying how big that page needs to be. You know, I tend to use A4 size, but, you know, you can go as big and as bold as you want. The main thing is that this is your high-level plan. You can keep it visible throughout the year and keep working from it. You know, and this 1-page plan, this isn't a place for all of the detail. You need your, you know, your diary. You'll be scheduling things in your diary. You will hopefully, if you haven't got one of the year planners, you know, I strongly recommend getting those as a tool. Those big planners that you can stick on your wall, you know, that give you all the months and all the days. They are great help throughout the year to help with your managing your time. But for your high-level business plan, let's keep it to 1 page and avoid that lengthy document. Step number 2, it's all about you. So, you know, this is the brilliant thing. There's you know, you put in a lot of hard work running your own business, so let's take the ups when we can get it. And, you know, the brilliant thing about being the business owner is that your business plan is all about you. You don't need to fit it into someone else's one-size-fits-all template. What works best for you? And that's what you need to think about. You know, what types of things work best for you? Are you a words person? Does that inspire you? Maybe you're much more visual and you like pictures and images that represent things, you know, or maybe you like a bit of both. Maybe you like to put some colour in there, maybe you don't. Maybe you like to type it out, maybe you like to leave it handwritten. Maybe, you know, the world is your oyster. Let your creative side roam and create something that isn't boring and uninspiring, that does excite you when you look at it and inspires you to go and take the action. Okay? Number 3, how to avoid it being just about the numbers is about getting clear on what other areas are important to you. You know, let's fast forward a year's time now, and we're sitting here in December 2015. What do you want to look back and say that you've achieved in 2015? You know, maybe you'd like to upskill and study for a new qualification. Maybe you want to reduce your working hours. Maybe there's holidays you want to take. Maybe there's a conference you want to go and attend somewhere next year. Maybe you'd like to change your working environment. You know, so what is it going to take when you fast forward a year's time? What is going to make you go, woohoo, you know, I've done that. So what else is important to you besides the numbers? And make sure your plan encapsulates those. So step 4, why bother? So if you're like the winging it approach, why bother? Well, let me tell you why bother, because, it's that question again of, well, if you've not been doing it, how's that working for you? Because if you have not achieved what you wanted to in 2014 yet, there's still a little bit of time left, but, you are certainly not alone. Here's some little stats that I saw very recently this week that, 95% of people who lose weight put it back on. 25% of people abandon their New Year's resolutions after only 1 week, and 60% within 6 months. Okay? So you've probably heard somebody else say this before now, that writing down your goals is the first step towards massively increasing your likelihood of achieving them. Yeah, so there's lots of studies that have been done. Yeah, people have goals and more successful, but people that write down those goals are even more successful and likely to achieve them. But the next step that a lot of people miss out is about mapping out your plan to achieve them. So most people know about the first step, writing them down, but lots of people miss out that second step. And putting together your business plan for 2015, this one-page document that's going to inspire you, is going to make it much more likely that you will end up ending 2015 on a high, knowing that you've achieved what you wanted to achieve. And there's even more steps that you can take to further increase your likelihood of meeting your goals, whether, surrounding yourself with like-minded people who will push and challenge you in a mastermind type group, working together, finding an accountability partner, maybe another business owner who you can review your plans with regularly and keep each other on track, or working with a business coach like myself who will hold you accountable and steer you through the challenges that come up during your year. So a question for you now, do you have wishes for 2015 or do you have goals? Because a goal without a plan is just a wish. Now, business planning is not about working out to the nth detail exactly what you need to be doing each and every day. It's about providing a framework or a roadmap. So let's imagine that you were going to visit somewhere that you've never been to before and you're going to go there in the car. It's a long journey and you don't know how you're going to get there. So probably the first thing that you are going to do is to look up directions. I'd go online. I'm not a sat-nav person. I like to go online and look at Google Maps. You may well go on sat-nav and set it in there. But when you're on that journey, when you're driving along in your car, there's going to be things that happen on the way that you don't know about yet. So you've got a roadmap, but there's going to be other things that happen that you need to deal with. So there might be some bad weather. Maybe there's some fog, heavy fog on the motorway, and you've got to slow down for it. So you're not going to get to your destination quite so quickly. Maybe there's an unplanned toilet break that you need to stop off for, particularly that happens with us quite often with having young kids in the back of the car. Or maybe you just, you pass through somewhere that just looks really beautiful and you want to stop out, get out the car and have a look around and stretch your legs. So the point I'm making is the same things happen in your business. Things will happen that you don't know about right now, and that's okay. Because having a plan still keeps you on track with the destination of where you want to end up, but there might be deviations and detours that you need to take along the way. So if you plan to take the motorway, for example, and then you get there, you find your junction's been closed, what would you do? You simply divert to the nearest A or B road, and then when you can get back on track on that motorway, you get back on track. So your journey ends up looking a bit like this little cartoon graphic that I've got on screen right now that shows the top, your plans. Ideally, we're going to set our plans that we go straight from A to B and it's a lovely, nice, straight route. But unfortunately, things happen, challenges get in the way, and it often ends up being a bit like the bottom one. It's a bit more bumpy. There's rocks to overcome, water obstacles, bad weather, etc. Okay? So having that plan in place, it doesn't stop those obstacles and challenges that may come up for you, but it is going to make them so much easier to deal with. and it will make it much easier as well for you to make more effective and quicker decisions in your business because you know what the end goal is, you know where you're going. And it also, importantly, helps you get through those challenges because there's plenty of people that turn back at the first obstacle. So don't forget that those things will happen, and it's just about keep going, keep working it, and you will get to your destination. You know, sometimes we all need a bit of help to navigate our own course and to keep on track. So again, it's really useful to get someone to make yourself accountable to share your plans with, who is going to help to keep you on track and get you over the bridge, over the water, through the bad weather. Okay, so that is the content for our webinar. So we've gone through the mistakes and we've gone through what you can do to avoid those mistakes. So hopefully if you're planning to do your planning between now and the end of the year, that has been useful to you. If you've got any comments, again, I'm just going to check in the chat box. Okay, I can't see any questions or comments in there, so hopefully that's all made sense. But if there's anything that you think of after I said, please email me a question to alison@alisonbradford.com and I will get back to you. And just before we go as well, before we finish, if you are at all curious and would like to know more about how I might be able to help you achieve your goals in your business in 2015, then I do have an opportunity for you. Now, I've been busy on my business planning over the last few weeks, have to walk the talk, but I have managed to get ahead in a few things. So what that has meant is I wasn't planning to do this, but I am going to be able to open up a very limited small number of strategy calls before Christmas when I break off for 2 weeks. So a strategy call is going to be half an hour over the phone or Skype where we work through any current challenges that you might have and to see, you know, if we're a good fit to work together next year. So these are the dates and times that I have available. So you can see there I've actually got 2 slots that I've freed up tomorrow, one on the one at 10:30 and one at 2 p.m. on the 11th of December. And then the others are on next week. I think that's next Wednesday and Friday when I freed those 2 up. So if you would like to book in some time to talk to me about any challenges you've got on right now, and you know, if you're just curious to find out more about what working with me would entail, then please don't miss this opportunity before the end of the year. So to book your slot, all you need to do is email me. Let me know your first and second preferences for dates and times because I will book these on a first come first served basis. So email me alison@alisonbradford.com and just put in the subject line strategy session just to make sure I see it quickly and get back to you quickly. So thank you very much, all of you, for attending the webinar today. Have a great rest of the week, and if I don't manage to speak to you before, of course, have a wonderful Christmas, and I wish you all a very, very successful 2015. Thanks. Bye-bye.